Hey everyone, yasas que kalos to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making Lagana bread, and this is a Greek bread that's soft on the inside, crispy and crunchy on the outside. It's topped with lots of sesame seeds. If you don't like sesame seeds, you can leave them out and top it with your favorite herbs, but we'll talk about that later. And then it's usually served on Clean Monday, which is Katara Deftera, and that's the beginning of Orthodox Lent, but it's so good you'll be making it all year round. Let's get started. Okay, in a large bowl, go ahead and add 4 cups of all-purpose flour or bread flour, whatever you have on hand, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and whisk it all together and set it aside. And then in my tabletop mixer, I'll add 1.5 cups of lukewarm water, 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar, and 1.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Mix that all up, and then you can attach the dough hook attachment to your mixer. Let this mixture sit for about 8 minutes or until you see a foamy cloud appear on the top. That's how you know your yeast is good and it's active and it's going to make the dough rise. If this does not happen, then you're going to have to throw this out and get a new container of yeast and start all over. Next, I'll add 1/4 cup of olive oil to my mixture and then all of that flour. This is going to knead on low speed for about 10 minutes, and then we'll transfer it into the same bowl that the flour was in, or a bigger bowl. You want it to have lots of room because it's going to double in volume, but make sure you grease the bowl well with some olive oil. Put that dough in there and toss it around. Cover it with plastic wrap or a clean kitchen towel and set it aside to rise until it's doubled in volume in the warmest room of your house. Once that happens, then we're just going to cut this into 2 equal portions. If you like a thicker bread, then you don't have to cut it into 2 portions. You could roll it out as 1 flatbread, but I'll just make 2 today. Each portion is just going to be rolled out really lightly. I'm using a rolling pin. You can use your fingers if you like. This is a nice rustic bread. It should be somewhat in the shape of a rectangle or some kind of an oval, around 9 by 13 inches. You can use parchment paper if you buy it pre-cut like I do. These are half-sheet parchment papers, and you can just kind of measure it by putting the parchment paper on it, and you'll know if you have the right size or not. There's really no wrong way to make this. You can make this smaller or bigger if you like. These are going to go onto trays that are lined with parchment paper, and then we're going to cover them loosely with a clean kitchen towel for about 30 minutes or 40 minutes or until they've puffed up and almost doubled in volume. Once the dough has puffed up, then you're going to want to use your fingertips to press into the dough to create the characteristic pinched look of the Lagana bread. We're going to brush the dough with some water, and you can sprinkle the top with either sesame seeds, your favorite herbs. You can definitely put some olives on this. There's so many ways you can decorate it, but we're doing the classic way today, and something that's not very traditional. I didn't have white sesame seeds, but I do have this everything bagel seasoning that has different types of sesame seeds in there and some seasoning like garlic and salt and things like that. So I'll sprinkle some of that on one and just put the black sesame seeds on the other one. This is going to bake at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. The oven is already preheated for about 15 minutes or until the bread is nice and golden. Let the bread rest for another 8 to 10 minutes and then it's ready to serve. And just like that, our Greek flatbread is ready, and it is crispy and smells delicious. I cannot wait to taste it. You can leave the sesame seeds out if you're not a fan of sesame seeds, even though that's the characteristic topping of this Lagana bread. But if you don't like them, you can, and some of my kids do not like sesame seeds at all, you can put your favorite herbs on top. You could even put some olives and sun-dried tomatoes like I did in another recipe that I'll post down below is another version of this. You can decorate it like a garden-inspired flatbread, and I did do a recipe on that too. There's so many ways to do it, but this is my favorite way, the most simple and traditional way. So good. I love the one with the everything bagel seasoning. It wasn't something I was planning to top this with, but I completely forgot to check and restock my regular white sesame seeds. It's so good though because it's salty, has all those delicious flavors. If you live outside of the US and you've never heard of this, it's basically, I'll read you the ingredients: sesame seeds, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, black sesame seeds, and poppy seeds. That's all it is. So if you just use regular sesame seeds and combine a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder, you'll pretty much get the same flavor, and lots of salt too. It's so delicious, so good, so simple. This bread tastes good with everything, but of course with dips like tzatziki, hummus. My favorite thing to serve this with is some olive oil and balsamic oil and roasted garlic. I did a dipping oil recipe a few months back. I'll post that down below too, so that way you can get that one. You can print this recipe out on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Let me know what you guys think, and if you want more Lagana bread recipes or variations, click over here and I'll see you right over there. Yes, us.